nation. Hebrew kingdom building.
All right, y'all, let's go to Bereshit 47. All right, y'all ready now? All right. We'll start with verse 27. So Israel dwelt in the land of Mitzrayim, in the country of, and they had possessions there and grew and multiplied exceedingly. And Jacob lived in the land of Mitzrayim 17 years. So the length of Jacob's life was 147 years. So, y'all, this is huge. That means Yaakov got to spend, after all that happened to him and he lost his son, Most High blessed him the way he had 17 years to spend with his family, with his son who he thought he lost. Not only did he have that 17 years to spend with his son, but he got to spend that time with his son prospering, flourishing. You can imagine that had to have been like a huge family reunion. Could y'all imagine? Yaakov, hey, what y'all finna do? Hey, I'm finna come through. And he come through with a whole caravan of stuff. Got the yayin on deck, got the camels coming through, a full-blown celebration. Hey, nah, y'all don't come up here. I'm finna come through Goshen, man. I'm finna come through there. I want this to be without the Mitzrites this time, fam. We're gonna come through. What'd you say? They don't got no phones up there. Go ahead. So Ema asked, how long was Joseph in Mitzrayim as a captor? So that's a great question. It was about, because he was 17 when he went in, so it was about how long? It was about 13 years. Because he went straight to Mitzrayim. We don't really know how long the process was for him before he went into captivity by Potiphar. But it couldn't, the guess it wouldn't have been that long. The Midianites took him. You need to go out there with your mama. Go out that way with that. Go in the middle area there. But yeah, it was probably about 13 years. It probably didn't take that long before he ended up in Mitzrayim. So, well, it's interesting because he was with him for 17 years. He was 17 when he got sold into slavery. Most High gave him 17 more years with him. So that was really too. That was really too because remember, as soon as he saw Joseph, he was like, "Oh, I'm too. I can die now." He was like, "I'm too now," because my eyes had seen him. But now Most High was like, "No, I'm gonna hook you up." Gave him 17 years. And I'm telling y'all, that 17 years, they was kings. They was like leaders in Egypt. They was flourishing. They was in the best land. They was doing well. Everybody else had to sell their land. Everybody else was struggling. It was mayhem everywhere around them, but they was too. Because they were in the wilderness where Yahuwah nourished them in the wilderness. Oh yeah, I guarantee that whole time they had all kind of enemies who wanted them. Because when they're in the wilderness being nourished, Yahuwah's protecting them. Remember, the Mitzrites didn't even like them. They thought they was an abomination. You telling me it wasn't no Mitzrites that was like, man, I hate Goshen. We need to go over there and mash on them. Ain't no telling what happened in that 17 years. You know what I'm saying? Because you can tell because as soon as that Pharaoh was gone, we see what happens in the book of Exodus, right? See what I'm saying? So let's keep going. Verse 29, when the time drew near that Israel must die, he called his son Joseph. See, he called him. You see that? No, that ain't. Oh man, that's a good old Christian interpretation right there, boy. You see, he called his son. They had telephones back then. That's them comedic interpretations. Y'all ever talk to the Kemet folks when they try to tell you about the scriptures? I'm telling y'all, man, Egypt had phones. Look here, it said he called them. Yeah, I really dealt with dialogues like that, man. I'm like, you know what, man? You got it, Doc. You got it. I'm done. He called his son and Joseph and said to him, now, if I have found favor in your sight, please put your hand under my thigh and deal kindly and truly with me. Please do not bury me in Mitzrayim, but let me lie with my fathers. You shall carry me out of Mitzrayim and bury me in their burial place. And he said, I will do as you have said. Then he said, swear to me. And he swore to him. So Israel bowed himself on the head of the bed. Hallelujah. Why was that so important to Israel? Why? Y'all know that wasn't asking a small thing, right? Y'all know you're talking hundreds of miles away. You know, they didn't have cars back then. They couldn't just take a flight. So he wanted them to go all the way back where he grew up at, back into Israel. Where Ephraim the Hittite was. Let's keep reading. Let's go to chapter 48. Now it came to pass after these things that Joseph was told, indeed, your father is sick. And he took with him his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. So Manasseh and Ephraim were probably, okay, think about it. Okay. Joseph was leading for about 17 years now. So, and his sons, I don't know, they probably were, it didn't say they were twins, so they probably weren't. Because one was older and one was younger, but that still doesn't matter. Even with twins, there's an older and younger. So they probably were pretty young. Let's put it this way, they probably were teenagers. So keep that in mind. And Jacob was told, look, your son Joseph is coming to you. And Israel strengthened himself and sat up on the bed. Then Jacob said to Joseph, Allure Almighty appeared to me. Now Jacob is telling Joseph the story of his life. I wonder if Joseph ever knew about it. He must have didn't really know about this. All the stuff that Jacob went through in his life. Because he starts explaining it to him. He's like, Allure Almighty appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan and blessed me. And said to me, behold, I will make you fruitful and multiply you. And I will make of you a multitude of people. And give this land to your descendants after you as an everlasting possession. So he's letting them know, man, I'm in a covenant with the Most High, and you're my, and part of the covenant was I'm gonna make you fruitful and bless your seed, and you as my son is part of this seed. He's kind of helping them know. So he said, and now your two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, who were born to you in the land of Mitzrayim, before I came to you in Mitzrayim, are mine. That's huge. He said, they are mine as Reuben and Simeon. They shall be mine. Why did he say they are mine as Reuben and Simeon? Reuben and Simeon was his first, Reuben was his firstborn and Simeon was his secondborn. So there's something being alluded to here. Y'all feel what I'm saying? Something being alluded to here. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, the thing is that Joseph pretty much, I believe he was supposed to kind of have a firstborn status. But what happened is that Yaakov was going to give him a double portion. Oh, you got two sons? Okay, they're mine. So now that's two coming from you. That's going to be part of the tribes of Israel, not one. Joseph is the only one who his sons ended up being tribes of Israel. He got a double portion. That's a sign of being the firstborn. He got a double portion. It was two tribes came out of him. Everybody else had one tribe came out of him. You get it? Very interesting. This is very something that's looked over pretty easily, but it's really a huge deal. It's such a huge deal that there's a whole chapter set apart for the blessings that Yaakov did to Joseph. And then the next chapter does all the rest of the tribes. And now your two sons, verse 5, and now your two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, who were born to you in the land of Mitzrayim. They were sown in Babel. They were born in Mitzrayim. Before I came to you and Mitzrayim are mine. As Reuben and Simeon, they shall be mine. Your offspring who you beget after them shall be yours. See that? They will be called by the name of their brothers in their inheritance. He's letting them know, hey, man, the Most High made a covenant with me. I'm a patriarch. He's letting them know, like, see, the Most High is the one who establishes nations. The Most High made a nation out of Jacob or Israel. Y'all know the Most High didn't make a nation out of Abraham. I know he made many nations out of Abraham. I know, but there's no nation of Abraham, or is there? The Most High didn't make a nation out of Isaac. He didn't. He didn't even really, like, there used to be a nation of Esau. There used to be Edom, but he really made a bunch of tribes out of Esau, but I don't know if you would say he made a nation like he did with Israel. It's the Most High who established. Y'all know Mitzrayim was a person. Y'all know Cush was a person. These were patriarchs of a nation that the Most High established out of them. You get what I'm saying? Jacob, Yahuwah made a nation out of Jacob. He didn't make a nation out of Jacob's sons. They became the tribes under his nation. It makes sense? They became a part of a nation, but it was out of Jacob that the nation was. That's why it's called the nation of Israel. That's because there's a person named Israel that Yahuwah said, I'm going to make this nation out of you. All right. So when he's having this discussion with Joseph, he's like, hey, man, the Most High promised these things to me, woo. And so your two sons that I got that you had birthed in captivity, but well, you know, I know he was leader, but that you birthed in Mitzrayim, they're now mine. All your other children, they'll be yours, but they're now mine. That's how the tribes of Ephraim and Manasseh was established. Verse 7. But as for me, when I came from Padan, now listen to this. But as for me, now he's going to talk about his mama. When I came from Padan, Rachel died beside me in the land of Canaan on the way, when there was but a little distance to go to Ephrath. And I buried her there. Buried her where? On the way to Ephrath, which is where? In Bethlehem. So she wasn't buried in Machpelah. She wasn't buried there. It's a huge deal. Go to Matthew chapter 2. Where was Raquel buried? It was in Bethlehem. Let's go to Matthew chapter 2, verse 16. Keep y'all place in Genesis. Y'all ready? Then Herod, when he saw that he was deceived by the wise men, was exceedingly angry. And he sent forth and put to death all the male children who were where? I still see some people turn. I want y'all to really read this. Matthew 2, verse 16. Then Herod, when he saw that he was deceived by the wise men, was exceedingly angry. And he sent forth and put to death all the male children who were where? And in all his districts from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had determined from the wise men. This then was fulfilled what was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, a voice was heard in Ramah, lamentation, weeping and great mourning. Rachel, weeping for her children, refusing to be comforted because they are no more. Y'all ever wonder why that was fulfilling that prophecy when that was the Yahudim that were being? Because Rachel is the mother of Benjamin and Joseph. But this happened in a specific city. This happened in the city of Bethlehem. That's exactly the place where Raquel was at. That's where she was buried at. Y'all get what I'm saying? Very, very interesting. Very, very deep here. When you go to Jeremiah and you look at the prophecy in there that they're quoting from, the whole prophecy is about Ephraim. It's about the northern kingdom. But when you go here, they're in Judah. And they said this is what's really fulfilling that prophecy is here. That's what they're saying. Rachel weeping for her children, refusing to be comforted. The sheep, Raquel, the sheep. Let's keep going. Genesis 47. Genesis 48, I mean. Bereshit 48. So keep that in mind. Raquel was not buried in Machpelah. Keep that in mind. Y'all know what I mean when I say Machpelah? Okay. Hallelujah. Abraham came and made that. Because, listen, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Leah, Sarai, they all are buried there. Rebecca, Todah, Ribka, they all are buried there. See what I'm saying? So why was Raquel not buried there? And they were on the way to the land. They were in Bethlehem. All right, verse 8. Y'all ready? Genesis 48, verse 8. Then Israel saw Joseph's sons and said, "Who are these?" And Joseph said to his father, "They are my sons whom Elohim has given me in this place." And he said, "Please bring them to me and I will bless them." So now it is time for Jacob to bless his sons. We've seen that happen throughout the generations. We've seen that happen when Isaac blessed Esau and Jacob. Jacob went through this before. Now it's his turn to do it. Y'all remember what happened when Jacob went through this? His mama was like, yeah, you need to do this and that and fake like you Esau, and that's what he did. Jacob, in order to listen, this is gonna trip y'all out. All right. We are on verse 10. Todah. Now the eyes of Israel were dim with age. Y'all know Israel was like 100 and almost 150 or something. So he was dim with age. His eyesight wasn't there anymore. Just like Isaac when Isaac was old. Very similar. His dad was the same thing. Then Joseph brought them near to him, and he kissed them and embraced them. You know, it's interesting. My granddad was the same way. His eyes, when he got old, it was he wasn't all the way blind, but his eyes went real dim. I don't know what they called it. That's what it was? Okay. Okay. Verse 11, and Israel said to Joseph, "I had not thought to see your face, but in fact, the Lord has also shown me your offspring." So Joseph brought them from beside his knees, and he bowed down with his face to the earth, and Joseph took them both. See, this is the blessing is a big deal, y'all, because I'm starting to see this like it's a passing of the mantle. It's like really interesting. The blessings from the Father. That's why in the scriptures of the patriarchs, they did this at the end of their life, because it's something that passes on when the patriarch passes on. It's like a mantle that goes on to them. It's like it's okay. It's y'all turn now. And so it's like, okay, with you, this with you, you'll be blessed with this, you'll be blessed with that, et cetera, and then they pass it down. It's something to that, y'all. Nevertheless, verse 13, and Joseph took them both, Ephraim with his right hand toward Israel's left hand, and Manasseh with his left hand toward Israel's right hand, and brought them near him. Then Israel stretched out his right hand and laid it on Ephraim's head, who was the younger, and his left hand on Manasseh's head, guiding his hands knowingly, for Manasseh was the firstborn. And he blessed Joseph and said, Allure before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac walked, the Allure who has fed me all my life long to this day, the Malak who has Gaar had redeemed me from all evil. Bless the lads, let my name be named upon them, and the name of my fathers Abraham and Yitzhak, and let them grow into a multitude in the midst of the earth. Now when Joseph saw that his father laid his right hand on the head of Ephraim, it displeased him. So he took hold of his father's hand to remove it from Ephraim's head to Manasseh's head. And Joseph said to his father, Not so, my father, for this one is the firstborn. Put your right hand on his head. It's a similar thing happening. It's a battle for the firstborn now. But his father refused and said, I know, my son, I know. He also shall become a people, and he also shall be great. But truly his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his descendants shall become a multitude of nations. That's the same thing what happened with him and his older brother. He had got the firstborn status. He was to be greater than his older brother, Jacob. So he went through the similar thing. And he's like, yep, with Ephraim and Manasseh, the younger is going to be greater than your older brother. But your older brother, his older brother, he'll be blessed too. He's your seed, he'll be blessed too. The same thing happened with Abraham and his two sons, with Ishmael and Isaac. Ishmael was the oldest, and Yahuwah was like, oh man, I'm gonna bless Ishmael too, but it's him who's gonna get the firstborn status. It's Isaac who's gonna get the double portion. Y'all see how this lines up and continues on? Okay. Verse 20, so he blessed him that day, saying, by you Israel will bless, saying, may Yahuwah make you as Ephraim and Manasseh. And thus he said Ephraim before Manasseh. All right, let's do this, y'all. Let's get all right, let's do this. Let's get all of the armor bearers. We're doing the boys this time. So the armor bearers and younger. Armor bearers and younger. Come over right over here. Slide right here. Yeah, boys only. Yeah. Right here. We're going to speak this blessing over the boys. He definitely counts. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. That's right. All right, we good? That's everybody? We two? We missing anybody? The car asleep, that's it? All right, let's do it. Okay, let's get, Uriah, where you at? Okay. Yeah. Okay, we got Hadassah, Ahmed. All right, y'all. Let's, we're going to speak the blessing on them, the blessing from the Torah on the boys. Let's raise our hands towards them in agreement. May Yahuwah make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh. May Yahuwah make you as Ephraim and Manasseh. May Yahuwah make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh. May Yahuwah make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh. May Yahuwah make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh. May Yahuwah make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh. May Yahuwah make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh. May Yahuwah make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh. Hallelujah. 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 Praise Yahusha. Praise Yahusha. Hallelujah. All right, now we want the jungle. Let's get them down. We're going to get the jungle. Are y'all kind of warm? Yeah, everybody told? Is that AC on? Oh, yeah, turn that on. Yeah, yeah. Oh, y'all not hot? We're gonna. Y'all cold? The majority say they hot, so we're gonna blow it. Y'all just let me know if somebody get real cold, we'll turn it off. All right. Is that everybody from Jungle? We got everybody? I see my sons. Where are y'all who at though? Oh, that's right. Never mind. Yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, that feel better. Praise the Most High. That's told, Cody. That's told. Praise Yahusha. All right, y'all ready? All right, let's lift our hands toward them in agreement, especially DOTL. Y'all got to bless that, y'all fellow Akeem. May Yahuwah make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh. May Yahuwah make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh. May Yahuwah make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh. May Yahuwah make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh. May Yahuwah make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh. May Yahuwah make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh. May Yahuwah make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh. May Yahuwah make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh. Hallelujah. 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 Praise Yahusha. All praise to the Most High. Hallelujah. So y'all remember, all right, let's get back locked in. Let's get back settled in. Speak the word over y'all Yellow Dean fam. Speak the word over. So, y'all know we were talking about last Shabbat the connection between Benjamin and Judah. You know, I thought about this because we talked about like Jonathan and David, for example. We talked about how Judah was willing to offer himself for Benjamin. When stuff hit the fan, he was like, man, just take me instead of Benjamin. Let Benjamin go. Just take me. Whatever you do, don't take Benjamin. Then you saw David and Jonathan would knit together. You saw this thing happen now. In the Brit Hadashah, Paul was a Benjamite. And it's interesting how Yahusha called out Paul. It's interesting because Paul was on his way to Sheol. Paul wasn't moving right, man. He was wicked. He actually was persecuting the Yahudim, man. And Yahusha redeemed him. It's kind of like how David did Mephibosheth. Y'all know Mephibosheth, man. Yeah, don't nobody name themselves that, boy. That's another name. You're not going to hear that nowhere. Mephibosheth ben Yisrael, that's my name. I'll be like, no, that's it. But y'all look at the story if I'm not familiar with the story of Mephibosheth, but David basically redeemed him. He was basically a nobody, you know, but David was seeking out a seed of Benjamin, a seed of Saul to bless, seed of Jonathan to bless. And he found Mephibosheth. He was lame and everything, and he had blessed him, had him sit at the king's table. This is kind of what Yahusha did with Paul, man. Why do you think Paul, he was saying stuff like, man, I'm the least of the apostles. I'm the least of them, man. I don't deserve this, and so on and so forth. This was a Benjamite that Yahusha, the Yahudim, Yahusha from Yehuda, son of David, right, had seeked out and called out. It's that same connection, that same thing. All right, let's go to Genesis 49. Bereshit 49. We're going to look at verse 8. He needs some milk. My bad, y'all. I've been kind of silly. All right, y'all ready? Judah, you are he whom your brothers shall. Verse 8. So Genesis 49. So now this is Yaakov. He's proclaiming the blessings on the different tribes of the sons. That's the context. So he already went through some of the other tribes. Now he's on Judah, verse 8, Judah. And this is what he's saying to Judah. Judah's right there. Remember, y'all keep this in mind, the context of this blessing he's giving to Judah. That's what's easily missed sometimes. Remember, Judah had just offered himself for Joseph. Remember, Judah had went out and put himself on a limb in front of his dad. It was like, man, look, I'll go, and if something happened, if something, man, put it on me. If anything happened to Benjamin. Judah was the one, because of him offering himself, was able to save the whole family. Y'all got to understand why Joseph did this blessing on him. His dad Jacob. Sometimes we can go straight to these blessings and stuff and not realize the context of where this is coming from. Judah, you are he whom your brothers shall praise. This is very deep. Not only that, but your hand shall be on the neck of your enemies. I love this part. So the Most High blessed us to be basically the best fighters in the world ever since. Ever since. Y'all ever seen them jungle out there boxing? After maybe 9 months of boxing, they were out there looking like professionals. We kind of slack now, but when we was going consistently, man, I remember Hezekiah, man. Hezekiah couldn't even do a push-up at first, for real. That's huge. No, this is a compliment, man. Because he went from not doing push-ups to being one of the coldest with the hands on the jungle. Like, for real. For real. And Hezekiah, he be so nice. He be beep 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 beep. Oh, you okay? Are you okay? Shimmy, I'll be like, man, don't be doing that. Keep going, man. Keep going, man. That's that Yehuda, though. That's the Yahudim. Your hand shall be on the neck of your enemies. Your fathers, now this is the big one right here, y'all. Y'all listen to this. Your father's children shall bow down before you. Wasn't that what the Most High gave to Joseph? Remember, Joseph had the dream that, oh man, all of y'all are going to bow down to me. that has been now given to Judah. Judah offered himself for Joseph in a sense, for Benjamin, for, you know, Benjamin. But, you know, Joseph is kind of in that realm because they came from Raquel. And also because of him offering himself for Benjamin, that's what redeemed him with Joseph. That's what caused, otherwise his dad wouldn't have been down with it at all. He probably would have rather them just take their chances on starving than had him go out there with Benjamin. You see what I'm saying? Y'all follow what I'm saying? Let me repeat that because I don't think y'all was really hearing me. So, right. Judah, his willingness to sacrifice himself for Benjamin is what enabled them to be able to reunite with Joseph and thus save the whole nation. If Judah didn't offer himself for Benjamin, his dad, Jacob, would have never let them go back. So in a sense, Judah also saved the nation. It wasn't just Joseph. And did it again through Yahusha, right? By offering himself. Yeah. All right. So let's keep going. Judah, you are he whom your brothers shall praise. Your hand shall be on the neck of your enemies. Your father's children shall bow down before you. Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, you have ascended is really what that's saying. And from the prey, it can mean out of the prey or out of that. So that's really interesting. Looking at it in the Hebrew, it's kind of interesting. But he bows down. He lies down as a lion. And as a lion, who shall rouse him? The scepter shall not depart from Yehuda, nor a lawgiver from between his feet. So between his feet, that's like between his knees. He's talking about his children. There won't be the scepter will not depart from Yehuda, nor a lawgiver from his seed. That's what they mean by from between his feet. From his seed. Y'all get what I'm saying? We don't have to go too deep in it. You don't understand that? So a lawgiver is someone who judges. He's someone who enforces the law. He's someone who he's a lawgiver. He gives out Torah and enforces it. No, so it's saying that the scepter shall not depart. It shall not leave Judah, nor a lawgiver shall not leave Judah. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah. As far as lawgiver, that's governor. Right. So yeah, that's more like a lawgiver, a scribe, a leader. Yeah, that was Hakak's name. Yeah, it has something to do with a scribe as well when you look at least the root word. So it's interesting that, you know, like the scribes and Pharisees, they were all Yahudim. You know what I'm saying? You look at the stuff that was going on in the times of Ezra, the scribe and stuff, you know, these were all Yahudim. So anyway, nor a lawgiver from between his feet until Shiloh comes. And to him shall be the obedience of the people. So that ties into above. Since a lawgiver nor a scepter will depart from them, it's unto him that the obedience of the people will be. So that goes into the kavod that Chief was talking about. That goes to what I was talking about when I was saying, man, Most High is gonna make it to where rebirth is like famous. And the reason why it's not for us, but again, it's for the obedience of the people to be established. See, the Most High is gonna. We're talking about this with the Akim and the Akim breakout meeting yesterday. That Yahuwah through Chief, I think this was on Shavuot, and when the word to the righteous, Yahuwah said he was going to give us an eternal cultural identity. See, we've been in Babylon so much that we be thinking of keeping the Torah as like religious rules. when really moving in righteousness is a part of a cultural heritage and identity that you move into. So when you start moving into righteousness as a cultural identity, as a cultural heritage, and not as religious rules from some religion you're trying to do. When the Yahudim move in that vein, and the Most High puts the kabod on the people who are doing that, it's going to cause the nations to flow. That's what we've been talking about for I don't know how long now. It's been a few months now. It's going to cause the nations to flow. It's going to cause many to move into righteousness or to attempt to do so. So Yahuwah's already establishing right here that he's going to use Yehuda to do this. So no wonder that's the covenant he made with the chiefs, that Yahuwah made with the chiefs, has to do with a lot of this. All right. Verse 11. Binding his donkey to the vine, and his donkey's colt to the choice vine. He washed his garments in wine. We talked about that. And his clothes in the blood of grapes. We talked about that. The judgments. Worship. Who is this whose garments are dipped in blood? Coming from Basra. Basra, that's Edom. Remember Basra? We've been reading Job. Remember Basra? That's where that one dude was coming from. His homeboy Teman. Or Eliphaz. He came from Teman, but that's out in that area, Temanah. Yeah. Edom, Basra. And his clothes in the blood of grapes. His eyes are darker than wine, and his teeth whiter than milk. All right, let's skip to let's skip to verse 29. Verse 29, y'all ready? All right, so now Jacob gave all the blessings to all the tribes, right? So now it's time for his death. So then he charged them and said to them, I am to be what? That's Asaph. I am to be gathered to my people. Bury me with my fathers in the cave that is in the field of Ephron the Hittite. That is interesting. He didn't even bury his own wife there. But he made him make an oath to him that he was going to bury him there. And that wasn't a small thing to ask, man. That's miles. That was probably a several days journey. We be thinking a 2-hour drive is long. I remember when the leadership and the music team and stuff, when we all went to Anderson, that was an 18-hour drive. We were like, man, that was so long. This was probably about a 3 to 5 day journey. And he was like, yeah, man, make an oath with me that you'll do this. And this is Joseph. This is the leader in Mitzrayim. He probably was real busy. He out there every day leading and ruling. He made the oath with him. And he let him know, and your mama, man, I had buried her in Bethlehem. He let him know that. Verse 30, in the cave that is in the field of Machpelah, which is before Mamre in the land of Canaan, which Abraham bought with the field of Ephron the Hittite as a possession for a burial place. They buried Abraham and Sarah his wife there. Buried Isaac and Rebekah his wife there, and I buried Leah. Y'all see that? Buried Leah, not Rachel. Verse 32, the field and the cave that is there were purchased from the sons of Het. And when Jacob had finished commanding his sons, he drew his feet up into the bed and breathed his last and was Asaph. Gathered to his people. So when it says that he was gathered to his people, that doesn't mean that's way more to that than he was in the cave with his Abraham. No. He was gathered to his people. That means he was in Abraham's bosom. He was with his ancestors. He was literally with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He was literally with them. That's what it means by being gathered to his people. Asaph. So, go to, no, don't go there. Yeah, never mind. So, that's the best way to explain this. Let's do this, yeah. I think this will be the best way to explain it. Just want to make this as coherent as possible. Go to Ezekiel 11:17. Ezekiel 11:17. Y'all ready? Therefore, thus says Yahuwah Eluah, I will gather you from the peoples, assemble you from the countries where you have been scattered, and I will give you the land of Israel. Y'all see that? That's Asaph. So, let's walk this out. So, Yaakov, let's keep going. Let's go to Micah chapter 2. Micah chapter 2. I think that'll help drive it home. Verse 14. Nope. Verse 12. My bad. Verse 12. Y'all there? I will surely assemble all of you. Oh, hold on. We'll wait. Hold on. All right, everybody there now? Come. I will surely assemble all of you, O Yaakov. I will surely gather the remnant of Israel. I will put them together like sheep of the fold, like a flock in the midst of their pasture. They shall make a loud noise because of so many people. The one who breaks open will come up before them. They will break out, pass through the gate, and go out by it. Their king will pass before them with Yahuwah at their head. So in verse 12, that is Asaph. In verse 12, the word for assemble is Asaph. Is that right? The word for assemble? Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah. So when it says, I will surely assemble all of you, that just means gather all of you as an assembly. That's Asaph. Now, when Yaakov was about to pass, it said he was gathered to his people, Asaph. He was gathered to who? He was gathered to his ancestors. He was gathered to his people. He was gathered to the Kodashim. Now, let's go to Ezekiel 37. Ezekiel 37, and then we're going to skip to verse 11. This is about the dry bones, right? The dry bones waking up. We're familiar with this chapter, right? All right. Verse 11. Then he said to me, Son of man. So he's explaining to him what the vision is. So remember, he gave Ezekiel the vision, and now he's explaining to him what it means. Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. They indeed say our bones are dry, our hope is lost, and we ourselves are cut off. So he saw a bunch of dead people. He saw a bunch of bones, right? Then Yahuwah was letting them know what it means. He said, these bones are the whole house of Israel. They indeed say our bones are dry, our hope is lost, and we ourselves are cut off. Therefore prophesy and say to them, thus says Yahuwah Eluah, behold, O my people, I will open your graves and cause you to come up from your graves and bring you into the land of Israel. So that's the same thing. That's the regathering like we were reading about in Micah 2, right? Just like what we're reading about in Ezekiel 11. So the being gathered to your people when you pass is actually connected with the regathering of Israel. It is. Because when you are scattered, you are in your graves. You are dead people. And so when you are regathered, you're being gathered to your peoples. You're being brought back to life. Y'all get what I'm saying? The resurrection. You're being Asaph, gathered to your people. Yahuwah said, I will send messengers. I will send messengers to regather the lost of Israel from the graves, to pull them from the dead and bring them to be gathered to their peoples, to bring them back to life. Oh, snap. Now that makes sense why Jacob made him make an oath that I'm not going to be buried here in Mitzrayim. No, bring my bones back to Israel. Then y'all know that Joseph did the same thing. Y'all read the Torah portion? Joseph, he said, take my bones. Take them and bring them back to the nation of Israel. That's the dry bones prophecy right there. Isn't that the dry bones prophecy right there? Man, let's go to Genesis 50, man. Y'all not following this. Hold on. Genesis 50. All right. Verse 24. And Joseph said to his brethren, I am dying, but the Lord will surely visit you and bring you out of this land to the land of which he swore to Abraham, to Isaac, and Jacob. Y'all see this? So first, what did Joseph do? He said, Yahuwah's going to regather you from the places you've been scattered and bring you back to the land. That's basically what he's saying. He said, I am dying, but the Lord will surely visit you and bring you out of this land to the land of which he swore to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Then Joseph took an oath from the children of Israel, saying, the Lord will surely visit you, and you shall carry up my bones from here. I will send out messengers. I will send out messengers. So Joseph died being 110 years old, and they embalmed him, and he was put in a coffin in Egypt. And then so when you'll read, I believe it's in Exodus that they, once they got out of Egypt, they carried the bones of Joseph. They moved forward on that. Ezekiel 37 is about dry bones being taken and carried back to the land. The dry bones are waking up and going back to the land. It's the regathering. Asaph. Did that help a little more? Y'all get it now? Okay. All right, go back to Ezekiel 37. We're going to read a lot of scriptures, y'all. We almost, yeah, pretty much. I ain't going to say that. Hallelujah. All right. All right, so now we're looking at verse 11 again. Y'all ready? Then he said to me, Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. They indeed say, our bones are dry, and our hope is lost, and we ourselves are cut off. This is the whole house of Israel. That's Jacob, right? That's Jacob. 12. Therefore prophesy and say to them, thus says Yahuwah, behold, O my people, I will open your graves and cause you to come up from your graves and bring you into the land of Israel. Then you shall know that I am Yahuwah when I have opened your graves, O my people, and brought you up from your graves. So this is dead people being brought up. I will put my spirit in you, and you shall live, and I will place you in your own land. Then you shall know that I, Yahuwah, have spoken it and performed it, says Yahuwah. And you know what comes right after that? The prophecy of the two sticks. Look at verse 15. Again, the word of Yahuwah came to me, saying, as for you, son of man, take a stick of yourself and write on it for Judah. Remember, Judah got the same blessing as Joseph. Your brothers will bow down to you. So there's a connection between Judah and Joseph. They have a similar blessing. They have a similar thing going on. So he said, write on one stick, Judah, and for the children of Israel, his companions. Then take another stick and write on it what? Joseph, the stick of who? Did it say the stick of Asher? Ephraim. Wasn't Ephraim the one who got the double blessing, the special blessing? This is way in Ezekiel, y'all. This is way after the Torah, but it's still connecting. And for all the house of Israel, his companions, then join them one to another for yourself into one stick, and they will become one in your hand. I'm telling y'all, the key to this two sticks that come together is really, I submit, probably Judah and Ephraim. Judah and Ephraim, and see, everybody else will follow. The two brothers who had that blessing, who had that special blessing, that double portion blessing from Jacob. Join them one to another for yourself into one stick, and they will become one in your hand. And when the children of your people speak to you, saying, will you not show us what you mean by these? Say to them, thus says Yahuwah Eluah, surely I will take the stick of Joseph, which is the hand of who? Ephraim is the stick of Joseph. And the tribes of Israel, see, the rest of the tribes are just the tribes of Israel. It's being led by Ephraim. That's why the northern kingdom is called Ephraim all throughout the scriptures. And the southern kingdom is called Benjamin. It's called Judah. Even though Levi's there, even though, Benjamin is kind of arguable. It's a little mixed up with the way Benjamin is, because there was at one point in time where Benjamin was the northern kingdom. But at least part of Judah as well, and Levi. But it's called Judah. Just like Ephraim had, Naphtali, Asher, and all of them in there, but it was called really Ephraim all throughout the scriptures. It's called many names, but many times it's called Ephraim. All right. And I will join with them with the stick of Judah and make them one stick, and they will be one in my hand. And the sticks on which you write will be in your hand before their eyes. Then say to them, thus said Yahuwah Eluah, surely I will take the children of Israel from among the nations. See, now he's letting you know what they're talking about. And sticks are, y'all know that sticks are just bones. Right. Y'all know that, right? Y'all know that sticks and twigs are just the bones of a tree? Right. Yeah. That's all it is. So he says, and you see that this is about to be gathering. All this is about to be gathering. This is about Asaph, the regathering, the gathering of the people. Just like when Yaakov died, he said he was gathered to his people. That goes hand in hand together. Because when Yaakov was being gathered to his people, where was he going to? He was going to the kingdom. He's being gathered to go to the kingdom. He's being gathered with those of the kingdom of heaven. He was a part of the kingdom of heaven. Surely I will take the children of Israel from among the nations wherever they have gone, and will gather them from every side and bring them into their own land. And I will make them one nation in the land on the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be over them all. They shall no longer be two nations, nor shall they ever be divided into two kingdoms again. That's serious prophecy. Y'all know that's what's coming, and that's what we are a part of this. Y'all, I submit that's a big function of this nation, is to gather the two sticks. They shall not defile themselves anymore with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions. But I will deliver them from all of their dwelling places in which they have sinned, and will cleanse them. Then they shall be my people, and I will be their allure. We're just talking about being cleansed, being washed, to be made clean and brand new for Yahuwah. Verse 24. David, my servant, shall be king over them. What does that mean? It means what Jacob just told Judah, that a lawgiver will not leave from between his feet. Seed of David. As he's talking about his seed will rule over them forever. Did it say Ephraim will rule over? So there shouldn't be no. I know there was a little bit of discussion between who gets the double portion. Is it is it Joseph or is it Judah? It's Judah. It's Judah. Specifically through the seed of David. That's what we are. That's what we're a part of this. That's what the covenant is about. Why do y'all think the covenant is about resurrecting the tabernacle of David? All right. David, my servant, shall be king over them, and they shall all have one shepherd, Yahuwah Rohi. They shall also walk in my judgments and observe my statutes and do them. Because it's unto the Yahudim that the obedience of the people will be. So y'all notice as soon as it starts talking about obedience, they're talking about the Yahudim ruling over them. David, my servant, will be king over them, and then they will move in obedience. Y'all see this? How this lines up? Why do you think that's part of the covenant with rebirth of a nation, that it'll be the tabernacle of David, kingdom nobility, kings and priests? I know I didn't say that right. Tabernacle of Dawood, kings and priests. Oh, you did that too? Yeah, it is though. Yeah, that's real. That's real. So this is way in Ezekiel, but it ties back into Jacob's promise to Judah. The covenant Yahuwah made with rebirth of a nation ties back into the promise that Yaakov made with Judah. That's why the blessings that Yaakov made with Judah. That's why those blessings are so important to understand. Verse 25, then they shall dwell in the land that I have given to Yaakov, my servant. Wait, let me read this again. Verse 25, then they shall dwell in the land that I have given to Abraham. Yaakov. Y'all see this? Where your fathers dwell, and they shall dwell there, they, their children, and their children's children forever. And it's repeating this again. And my servant David shall be their prince forever. Moreover, I will make a covenant of shalom with them, and it shall be an everlasting covenant with them. I will establish them and multiply them, and I will set my sanctuary in their midst forevermore. My tabernacle also shall be with them. Indeed, I will be their allure, and they shall be my people. The nations also will know that I, Yahuwah, sanctify Yisrael, when my sanctuary is in their midst forevermore. Praise Yahusha. Praise Yahuwah and Yahusha. Praise Yahuwah and Yahusha. All right, let's go back to Bereshit 49. And we're going to read verse 33 again. Let me know when everybody there. Yeah, chapter 49. We're going to do the last verse here, and then we're going to go into chapter 50 a little bit. You had a question? Bereshit 49:33. Y'all ready? The last verse, chapter verse 33. Everybody ready? Oh, I went. And when Yaakov had finished commanding his sons, he drew his feet up into the bed and breathed his last. And was what? Gathered to his people. Let's go to chapter 50. So that's connected to the regathering of the whole nation of Israel as well. Asaph. Y'all ready? Verse 50? Chapter 50, I'm sorry. Chapter 50, verse 1. Then Joseph fell on his father's face and wept over him and kissed him. Man. And Joseph commanded his servants, the physicians, to do what? Oh, that's always been very controversial. Embalming. Embalming the dead. We thought we look at that as a Babylonian thing or a Babylonian tradition, but man, the patriarch of our nation, our forefather Yaakov, was embalmed. He was embalmed. Yeah, along with Joseph. So these are the only two people in all the scriptures that were actually. Let's talk more through that. Let's talk more through that. Yeah, you going where I was gonna go. Yeah, you already know what I'm thinking. Cause you know, Yahusha, let me get there first. Let me get there. So Joseph commanded his servants, the physicians, to embalm his father. So the physicians embalmed Joseph? I mean, so the physicians embalmed Jacob is what I meant? That's interesting that the Torah specifically said Israel here. The Torah specifically said Israel here. Let's look at something. Let's look at something here. I'll submit to y'all that was on purpose. I'll submit to y'all this is saying a lot more than what it's saying. Just go to the last verse of chapter 49. It says, and when who had finished commanding his sons? Yaakov. He drew up his feet into the bed and breathed his last and was gathered to his people. Then you go to chapter 50. Verse 2 it says, verse 1? Verse 2 it says, Joseph commanded the servant, the physician, to embalm his father. So the physicians embalmed Israel. Why did it change? Because this is about the whole nation. This is saying more than what it's saying, y'all. Y'all think about this. Why? Okay, I keep going ahead of myself. Let's look at it. Let's look at the Hebrew. let's look at embalm in Hebrew, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and speak it here. I'm gonna go ahead and go there. Why did they embalm Yaakov? They had a long trip. Bodies decompose right away. They decompose right away. So if you don't embalm, there's no way that I told y'all that trip probably could be 3 to 5 days maybe. I gotta look it up. It might be longer than that. And he made them promise him that he would send his body back down there. So now let's look at this. Why was Raquel not buried in Machpelah? They didn't have they didn't have those type of resources. She wouldn't have made it. So in order to give her a proper burial, you have to. If you don't have no way to preserve them, you got to bury them immediately, because decomposition sets in right away. If you don't got no freezer, you don't got nothing. You just out in the air, the hot sun. You have to. You will want to bury them immediately for that dignity of the person. So it wasn't like he was like trying to be some type of way toward Raquel or nothing like that. It was the way things went down. He had to bury her right where they was at. That makes sense? So, but now they in Mitzrayim. Now they told. Now they with Joseph, and Joseph he's the man. He's the man. He has the resources. He has it all. He probably a multi-billionaire in today's in today's standards. At least a multi-millionaire, at least. And so he made Joseph promise him, man, take me out there. Oh yeah, I'll make that happen. And so they embalmed him. It was on, y'all saw it was on commandment from Joseph. He commanded the people to embalm him. All right, so let's look at it. All right. The word for embalm is chanat. Chanat, that's the kin. I gave that away too. But that's the het, nun, tet. Het, nun, tet. And so y'all see the het, nun in there. Y'all know what hen means. I know, today I'm just being on it. But that's grace that I see in there right away as a two-letter, you can call it a two-letter root or whatever you want to call it. You see grace in there. So, the head has the connotation of the gate. You got the nun as the seed, the tet is the basket. It also means to encompass or to encompass around, etc., etc. But it's a way to carry the seed within the gates. It's a way to carry the seed within the gates. Y'all know the tet is a basket. It's to carry something as well as another connotation. So it's a way to carry the seed within the gates. Y'all get it? It's a way to carry the seed from a place of bondage to a place of freedom. So now do y'all see how that is connected with the regathering of Israel? It's a way to carry the seed from a place of bondage to a place of freedom. Man. So the embalming has the connotation, see, that's grace, that's kin. It's a way to carry the seed from a place of bondage to a place of freedom. It's a way to carry the seed from a place of bondage to a place of freedom. Let's go to Ephesians chapter 2. This is connected with the regathering, because that's what the regathering is all about. It's about Yahuwah taking Israel from the four corners of the earth, taking them from bondage and bringing them into freedom. Mitzrayim means a place of bondage. That's what Egypt means, Mitzrayim. It means a place of bondage. The root word for Mitzrayim is Metzer. That means bondage. Ephesians chapter 2, we're going to start with verse 1. Let me know when everybody get there. All right. So in order to see, this is the thing. This actually supports what the chief's been saying as well, because in order to be able to be regathered, and to make it into the place of freedom, you have to die. You have to die first. That means die to self. I don't mean literally die, but die to self. And so when you die, then you're able to be embalmed. You'll be able to be filled with the embalming of the Ruach. You're being filled with what preserves you. And so that you'll be able to make it to that journey from the place of bondage to the place of freedom. If you don't have the embalming fluid, if you're not embalmed, I'm saying not embalming fluid, but if you're not embalmed, you will not be able to make that journey to freedom. You can start the journey, but you're gonna decompose before you make it to the place of freedom. You get it? You can start the journey, but you're not gonna make it all the way there. It's a long journey. So you have to die. You have to be preserved by the preservation of the Ruach of Yahuwah. You have to be anointed with his Ruach. You have to be anointed by the anointing of his presence, his preservation. This is what the chief's been saying, though. We're just proving it with the Torah.
Can you say that again?
In order to be, are y'all being serious?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was fire.
Sample. But so when you in order to be the embalming of Yaakov, this is why this happened to Yaakov, because he represents the whole nation of Israel. That's why they said they embalmed Israel. The embalming preserves him so that he can make the journey from bondage into freedom. So he can make that long, because it's a long journey. It's not a short journey, it's a long journey. The journey from bondage to freedom is not no easy walk. It's going to be a long journey. And so, in order to be able to survive that journey, in order to be able to make it, number one, you have to die. So that you can be preserved and embalmed. Now, the captivity is already a death. You know, you're being taken out of your graves in a sense. That's already a death. So I probably would. You have to die. Just put it that way. No matter how well you slice it and dice it. So that you'll be able to be filled with the Ruach that will give you the ability to make that long journey to freedom. Because if you're not filled with the Ruach, if you don't die first, if the Most High doesn't give you those things, you won't be able to make it to the journey into freedom. You may start the journey, but you're not going to make it all the way. You're going to be decomposed before you get there. Yeah, that's why we read that. We read that up there, Ezekiel 20. I'm going to bring you to the bond of the covenant. He says, he's going to gather everybody, but everybody's not going to make it. I'm going to plead with you in the wilderness. But everybody's not going to make it into freedom. It's the same thing that happened in the Exodus. We're going to read about that. The same thing happened in the Exodus. That they all made it out. They all started the journey from freedom and from bondage into freedom, but thousands died. Thousands died in the wilderness. They couldn't make the whole journey. Actually, a whole generation died. I forgot about that. Hallelujah. Praise Yahushua. All right, Ephesians 2, that's what we're doing. All right, verse 1. And you, he made alive, who were what? The trespasses and sins, in which you once walked according to the course of this world, carnality, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit who now works in the sons of disobedience. But it's into Judah that the obedience of the people will be done. Verse 3. Among whom also we all once conducted ourselves in the lust of our flesh, fulfilling the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature children of wrath, just as others. But Elohim, who is rich in mercy because of his great love with which he loved us, even when we were dead in trespass, I mean, he said we were dead, made us alive together with Mashiach. It says by what? Grace. By what? Grace. By kin? So you see how kin is in the word for embalm. Because it's by grace that you have been saved. That kin is like an embalming fluid that preserves you. That preserves you. Verse 6, and raised us up together. This is about the regathering. And made us sit together. Where? In heavenly places. That's why Yaakov was gathered with his people. He was gathered with his people in heavenly places. He was gathered with his people into the bosom of Abraham. Now, I understand. I know that the bosom of Abraham technically is in the, it's in the depths of the earth. But again, we're talking. They're part of the kingdom of the Shamayim. They're the people of the Shamayim. Abraham, you're talking Yaakov. We know that because Yahushua even says that. I think he said something along the lines about that. Verse 7, that in the ages to come he might show the exceeding riches of his grace, kin, and his kindness toward us in Mashiach Yahusha. For it is by grace that you have been saved. That makes a lot more sense what that means now, huh? It's by kin, Ketnun, that you have been able to make that journey from death to life. From bondage to freedom. It is by grace. And that not of yourselves, it is the gift of Elohim. Not of works, lest anyone should boast. For we are his workmanship, created in Mashiach Yahusha. For two, this is interesting because the Most High told me something similar like that several times. Said like, you are my handiwork or something like that, For we are his workmanship, created in Mashiach Yahusha for through works, which Elohim prepared beforehand, that we should walk in them. Hallelujah. So, when you look at Hanat, the word for embalm, you also see some other words in there. Chanatim. Somebody said, oh, I already put it on there. Chanatim, it means wheat. That has to do with the regathering too, don't it? Y'all know the story of the wheat and the tares? It's about gathering the harvest. You know what's crazy? Huh? They met at the thresher. I forgot. I didn't think about that. They ended up being at the threshing floor of a tide or something like that. That's huge. Man, hold up. And so, also, you have, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Also, in Joseph's dream, his brothers who bowed down to him were sheaves. Sheaves are wheat. That's usually wheat. That bow down to his sheaf of wheat. You see what I'm saying? Chanatim. That's literally almost the same word. You got the het nun tet, right there. You got the same. It's the same thing. It's really like the plural of chanat in a sense. You see what I'm saying? That's the word for embalm in the scriptures. This is about the regathering of the. This is about the regathering of the children of Israel. This is prophetic. This is about the nation. This is about you. This is about us. I didn't do the breakdown on that, Cody. I didn't do the breakdown on that one, but again, you go back and you see that. Let's go back to Genesis 50. No, Genesis, 50, yeah. All right. All right, let's skip down. All right. Let's start with verse 9, okay? No, let's start with verse 7. Verse 7. So Joseph went up to bury his father, and with him went up all the servants of Pharaoh, the elders of his house, and all the elders of the land of Mitzrayim. So all the leaders went to this funeral. They all went all the way to Canaan for this, to Israel, basically. As well as all the house of Joseph, his brothers, and his father's house. Only their little ones, their flocks and their herds, they left in the land of Goshen. That's interesting, ain't it? I know some of y'all ask about, man, should I bring my children to the funeral, stuff like that. It's not a Torah or nothing like that, but if they're not going to really understand or anything like that, if you can, it might be best to leave them most times, you know. Verse 9. Yeah. Verse 9, and there went up with him both chariots and horsemen, And it was a very great gathering. So he had a huge gathering, Jacob, for his funeral. Then they came to the threshing floor of Atad, which is beyond the Jordan. Malkayahu brought out, this is a threshing floor where you thresh wheat, y'all. This is where you separate the wheat from the chaff. The threshing of the wheat. And they mourned there with a great and very solemn lamentation. He observed 7 days of mourning for his father. And when the inhabitants of the land of Canaan saw the mourning at the threshing floor of Atad, they said, this is a deep mourning of the Egyptians. Therefore his name is called Abel-Mizraim, which is beyond the Jordan. So they had a huge burial. They had a huge funeral. They had a huge funeral. A royal funeral. So this is from Wikipedia on the history of embalming. Y'all can look it up on Wikipedia. I didn't mean to say that. Hey, look. Wikipedia is actually a tube source. It is. You just got to know what you're doing, though. You got to know what you're doing. They got all the sources at the bottom. You got to check that. Make sure it's legitimate. But I just call it Wikipedia. I guess it's supposed to be something else. Wikipedia meant said. Wikipedia. It is important to note that whilst the term embalming is used for both ancient and modern methods toward preservation of a deceased person, there is very little connection in terms of actual practices or final aesthetic results. Then he goes into a couple of cultures here. We're going to skip that. And we're going to go to perhaps the ancient culture that developed embalming to the greatest extent was? Mitzrayim. Yeah. But it was ancient Mitzrayim. We were very connected with ancient Mitzrayim. As early as the first dynasty, that's scriptures. Yeah, that's specialized priests were in charge of embalming. That makes sense because Joseph was a priest. He was married to one of the priests in Egypt. So he had them connections. He said, yeah, embalm him. And they was able to do that. Embalming and mummification, y'all know they both were probably mummified and everything. That was just what they did in Egypt. They did so by removing organs, ridding the body of moisture, and covering the body with natron. The ancient Egyptians believed that mummification enabled the soul to return to the preserved corpse after death. Other cultures known to have used embalming techniques in antiquity include the Moorites, Guanches, Peruvians, Javaro, Aztecs, Toltecs, Mayans, and Tibetan and Southern Nigerian tribes. Y'all know what Southern Nigeria is, huh? That's Igbo land, that's Yoruba, those are all Hebrews there. That's interesting, because I thought this was a custom of the other nations. And it's really not. The earliest known evidence of artificial preservation in Europe was found in Spain, about 5,000 years old, human bones covered in cinnabar. We were there. But embalming remained unusual in Europe up to the time of the Roman Empire. Y'all know the Roman Empire, that was like during the time of the Brit Hadashah. So that wasn't even done in Europe until like relatively modern times. This was a custom that I submit we've been doing for a while. Yeah, you have to. Yeah, if you're not embalming, you got to do it the same day, for the integrity of the person, because
But I mean, they get involved, but I'm saying those
Oh.
they still do.
Oh, they still do. Oh.
No, this is probably New Orleans.
What'd you say?
They do this all the time in New Orleans.
This is how they do it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember.
That's how they did Hebrew.
But that was yeah.
It's a big old party.
Say, you remember the one you guys share something.
It's plain to you, more open out of them.
That's a sign of their last memories. It's not, to them, it's not disrespect. It's not disrespect at all.
Y'all wanna explain this, New Orleans people?
Give it a mic.
All right, okay.
That's what it means.
Yeah, so, yeah, they good though. Talking about they play spades on my daddy. So, when you read Josephus's writings, it's very similar to that. It don't normally be as huge as that. Normally you have certain leaders or heads of the family, men, who would be on either side of the coffin. You know, that's pretty typical, you know. But the second line part is normally when the body and the casket is put inside of the hearse. The immediate family was second line behind they will walk our second line behind the hearse as the hearse is driving to the burial site, and then all the rest of the family and friends, they were second line behind the immediate family. It's just to show respect. And the dances that are done are African Hebraic dances.
What a second line.
It's a Hebraic dance. That's literally what it is. It's a Hebraic dance. You have the video, right? The African people doing the dances that look like they second line. But basically, so the cool thing about New Orleans is that we were basically owned by French and Spanish. So they allowed us to preserve a lot more of our culture than other areas of slavery. And so that's why we have a lot of the language, and we have a lot of the culture as far as the dance and the funeral processions. Those things are Hebraic cultures.
I have a question.
Yes.
Well, first of all, I don't know why New Orleans reminded
Need a microphone.
You know you need a mic.
They have another one.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, that's all.
Just real fast. But I just want to say real quick, New Orleans remind me a lot of the islands. It's so interesting. But what is second line? Because I wonder, huh? No, but like, because we have a dance too, but we name it something else. So I was trying to see if the second line is the same dance.
So what now? The dance they were doing on the video, was that second line or no? Yeah, so what you saw in the video, that was an example of that.
Okay.
Why do you call it that? Walking down the street. So is that what y'all have?
So here's a Wikipedia of explanation. It just says that it was that it came from Africans, as Matt already said. So told West Africa, hallelujah. So all right, let's keep going. So go ahead.
So I heard the second line and I seen second line. So is second line, is that specific for funerals? Is that where that comes from? Or is that just okay? Just in it. All right, I was just wondering. Okay.
Yeah, that's actually a two question. I was wondering about that too. But y'all see, the funerals was looked at as a big celebration in a sense. You know, in New Orleans, that's how they did it. Pretty much most other places we basically do it like the other nations. But New Orleans is one of the places that really preserved a more Hebraic way of doing a funeral. So.
Television inspired.
So this is in West Africa from the Yoruba people. So they basically doing the same thing. Here go another. This is in Nigeria, y'all. Go another example. Even the music they playing sound like straight second line jazz in a sense. And y'all see they had a trumpet that they were blowing. Who is that? Who saw that? That's why I was like, I'm not gonna say nothing, but yeah, they remember. Yeah, even Angie saw somebody playing the trumpet. So basically, I submit to y'all that is a more closer way of celebrating somebody being gathered to their people than the way we normally do it here. Is super Europeanized.
How is that? Because I want to know, like, how is funerals here? That's how it is in the island.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, like we ride.
Oh, well, here you go into the church, and it's usually solemn. There might be a church song or two, and pastor, where is Israel at? I know. That's true. Yeah. But y'all, I really
Yeah, they stand them up, put them on motorcycles and all kinds of stuff.
I really believe that we need to get back to this. I do. That's been a big question in amongst the nation for a long time. I see him. That's been a. Yeah. I know it's a service first, but I'm saying as far as the part of really have a celebration, to really maybe walk the street and celebrate and dance and have djembes and praise Yahuwah and celebrate the person being gathered to their fathers. If you talk about somebody that's of the Kodashim, somebody who's of the nation, you know what I'm saying? So on and so forth. I really believe I want to get back to something like this, to where we block out the street not just with a bunch of cars just going to a funeral home somewhere, but to actually be out there and have that last walk with the person who has been gathered back to their fathers, and make it a celebration, and have djembes and have shofars blowing. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, that's my point. Right.
Let's pray it be a long time.
Yeah, so go ahead back there.
Israel.
We can get go ahead and get back there, and we'll get Israel.
So that's how it is in the islands. Like if watch your head. If somebody like live in America but they're from home, they fly their bodies back home so that they could be buried home. So they're going back to their land, like they're not gonna be buried in America. And then after the funeral, like they have a big feast, like it's a big cookout. You're probably going to the beach or something, like it's a big celebration. It's not sad. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll have a feast afterwards, but it's just like a,
Yeah, it do be a feast more.
Yeah, it's just like you just chilling and eating, but it's not like a formal like celebration type of aspect of it. Like it, I tell y'all what, when we did a Cody's funeral, man. We went in though, yeah, from OKC. We went in. We had full praise and worship on there, and we went in. Djembes, and you had all those people who wasn't in the truth, man. Those people trying to see about this truth after that. Even her mom actually declared that she was in the truth now. I don't know ended up, but she did though. So because I mean we went in, we had a celebration, but still I really want to go back to the custom of doing some sort of walk, doing some sort of stroll as mishpachah down the street, and celebrating them outside and as we walking down to the location, as opposed to the more traditional way of just following in a car and just sitting there and being solemn. Go ahead, Israel. Go ahead and explain it.
You want to know what it is?
Oh, they wanted to know a general European form of the general form of how funeral services are in America.
For us, it's going to be a lot of time constraints because they know how people are. I know somewhere in the scripts, I'm not sure where, but you're supposed to celebrate when a person passes, when they make the transition from this life to the next, and you're supposed to really be sad when they're born into a world full of iniquity and sin. But for the most part, the other nations, they pretty much a carbon copy of everything that Israel has done. The logistics of the funerals, the way things are set up, that's all our people. Those are all our customs. They manipulate it and change it by putting a lot of the time constraints and legalities into it. I don't think it was necessarily as many legalities put into it back in the biblical times when we were doing what we were doing. I think you could just, if you knew the high priest that was in charge of that, you could just go and take care of your business and do what you got to do. Any questions that I can answer specifically?
That's told. But this is the thing. Now I want y'all to really think about this as well. I'm not going to be able to. But go ahead and record it anyway. But I'm going to delete this part. But I want y'all to think about this though. Remember what we talked about, what embalming really means, right? Notice that right now, those who are allegedly dying over Maxine, something is blocking them from being able to be properly embalmed. Do y'all see the implication there? Do y'all see y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Y'all seen the movie? Oh man. Okay, hold on. So according to the movie, y'all gotta watch the movie, man. We've been trying to tell y'all about this for a minute now. Y'all something else. This stuff is serious, man. But it's an hour-long documentary. The Maxine is causing clots in the arteries and in the blood, so that the main people that were being interviewed on that documentary were embalmers. Right. Those were the main people. Yeah, most of them. Yeah, they were the main people that they were talking to, because they're the ones that's really seeing this. The doctors aren't really, it's the embalmers, because this stuff ain't really coming out till after they die. So it's the embalmers who are really seeing this. And so what they were saying in the movie is basically that they're having trouble being able to embalm people because of the blockages in the from those blood clots. Okay. And so when you're talking about the spiritual implications there, what embalming really means, being preserved so that you can come from bondage into freedom, that supports what the chiefs was saying, man. How, I don't know, you might get Maxine, and that might seal you. That might seal you from being ever. That's like getting the mark of the beast or something. I'm not saying that's the case, but when you look at the Ruaco aspect of that, just even what they're talking about with that, yeah. You won't have the ability to get embalmed. You won't have the ability to be preserved so you can make it from that journey from death to life or from bondage to freedom. That's junk crazy, y'all. Go ahead.
Yeah, the crazy part is that you don't get blood clots in arteries. Blood clots are in your vein. These are clots that are in their arteries. That's not normal. And the thing, they're so big because they're taking the shape of the artery, the cavities within the artery. And that's not normal. That's not a normal thing. And so what you'll see in the video is them having to like pull these things out in order to properly even drain the body because the clots are so large. And they're calling them clots, but they're not really clots. They're not even the color of clots. I mean, they're more like a white or pink like color. They're not like red like a actual blood clot.
So Chief talked about this a long time ago. I think it might have been over a year, it might have been a couple years ago. That there were organisms or something like that. They might be like some sort of living things that's going and doing and just infiltrating your bloodline. The worm, yeah.
Worm dies, worm will never die.
Oh, snap. And it's like infiltrating your bloodline and it's blocking. And it's so bad that the people literally, when you die from that, like the people are, Israel got something to say. I want you to speak on this. Because the people in the documentary were saying they were having trouble embalming. They were unable to embalm people because of those blockers. Because the way the embalming works now is that they put that embalming fluid through it has to go through like the arteries and stuff to preserve the body. It goes through those things like that. So it's interesting that there's something out there that is blocking people from being able to be preserved to have that type of burial. Israel, you had told me something about how they basically changing things up now because of that, huh? The way a lot of people, they're not even trying to deal with the embalming or something like that or something. Go ahead.
Yeah, at the height of COVID, when it first became like really, really bad, the C word, when it became really bad, people were electing to go away from having funerals and traditional burials and even against their own morals and principles, cremating the bodies. Like, yeah, we don't want to come see. We already seen them when they was in the hospital. We gonna sign the paperwork, just burn the body up. To land back off of what Moray was just talking about though, everything he's talking about is absolutely 110% true. I had initially started seeing it when it first broke out with Coco, but like many of us, I wasn't gonna be the one to, get on there and start, hey, this is what's going on, woo, woo, woo. I felt a whole lot better once I seen other nations coming out doing it. Not even that I'm gonna follow suit with them, but what happens is, for me, this is routine embalming. You're putting your fluid in through the arteries. That fluid has to make a complete circulation through the body, in return giving you drainage from the veins. But if there's a blockage, it's gonna build up somewhere, or it's gonna come to a point to where if you looking at your embalming tank, which is a 3-gallon tank, the motor's still going, but there's no fluid decrease in the tank. It's just there. So I do believe though that has a lot to do with ruacal implications. I pray a lot before I go back there, before I deal with any of them folks, because you don't know ruacally what you're dealing with.
You said you poured out some.
Yeah, I actually have some video footage. I tried to post in the Telegram, but I don't know how. I'm not tech savvy, so I wasn't able to trim it. Come.
Nah, he asked me first. I told him to go ahead and do it.
Yeah, I want to see it.
But yeah, I think it probably is best that he don't do that. Just because Telegram isn't the most. Telegram ain't very secure. Huh?
You got a smart TV, you can put on TV.
Oh no, we too. If y'all have y'all seen if y'all seen the documentary, it's the exact same thing. Well, he showed me it looked exactly the same thing on the movie. Same. I mean, the movie kind of hard to stomach too. I mean, it's but.
That's why it's not for you guys.
Nah, they don't depend on that. That's just hard to stomach. Yeah.
I'm not. I haven't even.
Right.
I was asleep.
Turn the mic on. Go ahead.
The thing is that it goes in through your arteries, but it also takes shape and form of all of your organs in your body. So they had a part on there where it was like they were in the heart. They were doing like surgery on this guy, and it was showing how they was like, what is that in the inside of it? And they showing it pumping, but then all of a sudden it was like this thing in the inside that had grew and shaped itself to the heart. And then all of a sudden it just like bust out. But it also changes the blood to where it looks like they have coffee granules in the blood. So when Chief was bringing out that it's going, he was like, don't get that. It's going to change your DNA. It's true. It really does, because it not only changes your blood, but it takes over all of your organs and it takes over your arteries. So now you're really functioning out of this thing, and whenever you like a ticking time bomb.
That junk crazy, man. And so basically, there was a prophecy about Yahusha, I think it's in Isaiah 53. All right, Isaiah 53 verse 9. This is a prophecy about Yahusha. Yeah, and we're pretty much done. This is the last time, I believe. Isaiah 53 verse 9, it says, and he made his grave with the wicked and with the rich in his death, because he had done no violence, neither was any deceit in his mouth, right? So that was basically a prophecy, basically alluding that he would be buried with the rich, though, that he would have a proper burial. He would have even though he didn't really have a lot of money like that, he wasn't wealthy, he will have a wealthy person's burial. That makes sense? And that was fulfilled when you read in Matthew.
What's his name?
He was a Pharisee, Nicodemus, Nicodemus. Nicodemus had buried him, gave him a rich man's burial. He actually was buried. Nicodemus gave him his burial. Y'all can go find that scripture, 24:57. Oh, okay. Joseph of Arimathea. Okay, what is it, Luke what?
But he did have, what is it, Luke what? 23.
Okay.
Probably was though, right? Probably was though. That's what he wanted.
Yeah, this is it. All right, Luke 23:50. This is how Yahusha was buried. Now, so Yahusha was crucified. Y'all know that was like the worst. That was like the worst punishment you could get. Like the Romans didn't even crucify like Roman citizens. That's what you do to like the outsiders of the outsiders. That was like the poor, downtrodden, the other nations, the people they had subdued. Those are the people they would crucify. They wouldn't crucify their own people. So he was put to death with the poor and with the wicked, but he had a rich man's burial. Remember that, Isaiah 53. So Luke 23 verse 50, it said, behold, there was a man named Joseph, a counselor, and he was a true man and a just. Oh, this is King James. Let me help that out. All right. Now behold, there was a man named Joseph, a council member, a true and just man. He had not consented to their decision and deed. He was from Arimathea, a city of the Jews, who himself was also waiting for the kingdom of Eluah. This man went to Pilate and asked for the body of Yahusha. Then he took it down, he wrapped it in linen, and laid it in a tomb that was hewn out of the rock, where no one had ever lain before. And so that shows that he did that. Now look at verse 56. Verse 55, let's start with verse 55. And the women who had come with him from Galilee followed after, and they observed the tomb and how his body was laid. Then they returned and prepared spices and fragrant oils, and they did what? According to the commandment. Man, this is in the New Testament. I thought they said they didn't do the Sabbath in the New Testament. But they did prepare the body with spices and fragrant oil. That actually is the connotation of embalming, actually. At least the ancient version of embalming. I know, like in America today, they do it different with the, as Israel talked about. But actually, the ancient form of embalming was anointing the body with different spices and stuff like that. That's what kanat comes from, that connotation. Anointing the body with different spices and things like that to preserve the body, oils and spices. And so that's why I was telling y'all that, man, Yahusha, he did have a rich man's burial, and you could argue that there was some sort of embalming involved with him too. You can argue that. Oh, snap, go ahead, let's go there. Okay. So Shimri just brought out a John 19:38. It says, after this, Joseph of Arimathea, being a disciple of Yahusha, but secretly, for fear of the Yahudim, asked Pilate that he might take away the body of Yahusha. And Pilate gave him permission. So he came and took the body of Yahusha. And Nicodemus, who at first came to Yahusha by night, also came bringing... Oh, snap. Yeah, let's go to John 19. This is it. Because I knew Nicodemus was part of this. Yeah. Yeah. This will be the last one for real. This Shimri, I'll follow this one, but this is it. So, it says, after this, Joseph of Arimathea, being a disciple of Yahusha, which is interesting because it was Joseph of Mitzrayim who was able to give Yaakov or Israel a proper burial, a rich man's burial. He had a rich man's burial, Yaakov did. After this, for fear of the Jews, asked Pilate that he might take away the body of Yahusha, and Pilate gave him permission. Remember that Joseph in the Torah had to get permission to give Jacob a rich man's burial. Y'all remember that? He had to go to Pharaoh and ask for permission. And Pharaoh gave him permission to go and take his dad out to Canaan. So he came and took the body of Yahusha. Right, verse 39. Y'all ready? And Nicodemus, who at first came to Yahusha by night, also came, bringing a mixture of myrrh and aloes, about 100 pounds. Man, they embalmed him, man. Man. Then they took the body of Yahusha and bound it in strips of linen. That's like a mummification. With the spices, as the custom of the Jews is to bury. You can't make this up, man. Should be out and brought it out, man. So you just said something important. So we were at, is this the last day of dedication? Tomorrow. Or is it tomorrow? We're in the middle of dedication. Dedication in Hebrew is Hanukkah, right? Hanuk. That's Het Nun Kuf, Kaf, Het Nun Kaf. So you still see that very similarities there. It has that grace in it, that dedication. being preserved so that you can make it from the journey from death to life. And we know what happened with Yahusha. They came back and all they saw was linen. He was being transitioned from death to life so he could resurrect. He was gone when they came back by that boker. You know what I'm saying? So all praise to the Most High. Praise Yahuwah and Yahusha. We need to die to self so we can be preserved to the judgment. Hallelujah.
Rebirth of a nation. Hebrew kingdom building.